How could I have foreseen that this singular, ephemeral moment would irrevocably alter the course of my life? It was an ordinary day, but everything changed the moment I stepped into that room. As I caught sight of the door ajar, an unsettling shiver coursed through me in that instant. I stood at the precipice, the weight of my decision heavy in the air, wrapping around me like a shroud. I might have faded into obscurity, avoiding the truth that called to me. Yet I chose to confront it directly. In that moment of realization, a chilling truth gripped my essence. I came to understand that everything had fundamentally transformed, never to return to how it once was. Indeed, I bear the weight of my actions, for it was I who ignited the flames and found myself unable to extinguish their fury. James sat at his desk, the weight of the day's shadows wrapping around him like a thick fog. The house stood in eerie silence, its shadows stretching like dark tendrils, hiding secrets too heavy to disclose. The atmosphere was heavy with silence, yet a soft whisper drifted down from above, igniting a spark of excitement within me. Liam remained alone in his room, the silence wrapping around him like a heavy blanket of unexpressed realities. Initially, it was merely a faint murmur in the recesses of my consciousness, a fleeting vision of a young man ensnared in the maze of his own reflections, perhaps yearning for a cup of coffee, a tiny refuge amid the chaos. A brief exchange could stir unspoken longings. With each step up the stairs, a thrill of excitement surged within me as I sought to unveil the source of the eerie whispers dancing in the darkness. As I approached his room, a disquieting excitement surged within me at the glimpse of the door ajar, just enough to invite curiosity. I inhaled deeply, ready to utter his name, but my gaze was irresistibly pulled toward Liam. He sat on the edge of his bed, the flickering light of his laptop casting mysterious patterns in the shadows of the dim room. The device rested in his lap, its bright screen illuminating his face with an eerie glow. His hands moved with an infectious energy, and for a fleeting moment, I was certain he was under the spell of something thrilling, perhaps a captivating narrative playing out before him. With every deliberate stride I made, shifting my viewpoint, a chilling tremor wrapped around me, robbing the heat from my face. In that moment, the reality emerged, striking with a vivid clarity. I understood precisely what Liam was plotting. As I stared at the shimmering image on the screen, a chilling wave surged through me, gripping my very essence. This completely caught me off guard. This moment was never intended for my gaze. Liam struggled to regain his composure, his heart racing as he lowered himself down. The sound from his laptop surged, saturating the atmosphere with a palpable intensity. Yet that ephemeral instant had slipped away, forever out of grasp. The moment had undeniably come to light. As our eyes locked, a flush crept across his cheeks, the weight of his hidden truths clear in his expression. He paused, his gaze dropping to the earth, the weight of his revelation hanging heavily in the air. I found myself suspended in that instant, as though the essence of time had come undone around me. I opened the door, my heart racing with an exhilarating sense of anticipation. I began my journey, yet quickly found myself lost, grappling with the depths of my thoughts, unsure of how to articulate the turmoil within. A peculiar warmth surged within me, igniting a tumultuous mix of emotions. Shame wrapped around me, but inside my mind, a storm swirled, elusive and untamed, slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. I dashed out of the room, my heart racing wildly, each beat echoing in my thoughts. I pressed my hands against my face, struggling to find my breath amidst the chaos. What on earth was that? I murmured softly, the weight of my thoughts heavy in the air surrounding me. What had I just unleashed? What had compelled me to such madness? Was I truly the sole soul caught in this elaborate web of consequences? That's more than sufficient, Sophia, I implored myself with an intense passion. Yet the turmoil inside me was ignited by forces that went beyond the mere images I had faced. Liam had stepped into the vibrant realm of his 23rd year. He had abandoned the innocence of his youth. At 47, I found myself a woman woven into the intricate tapestry of my own secrets, a shadow that lingered with every step I took. Never had I found myself in such a dangerously captivating predicament. Yet the weight of guilt wrapped around me with an inescapable intensity. I found myself captivated, caught in the electric atmosphere of the moment, standing still in the hallway, my heart racing wildly within me. I let my fingers glide through my hair, attempting to corral my chaotic thoughts and calm my pounding heart. As Liam stepped into the room, a palpable energy enveloped him, his fingers nervously toying with the collar of his shirt, a subtle gesture that hinted at the chaos brewing within him. He cleared his throat, his gaze wandering, heavy with unspoken truths waiting to come to light. Sophia, my longing. I truly lament the events that have unfolded. I believed I had secured the way in. His voice wavered, trembling with uncertainty, yet laced with genuine remorse. I swiftly averted my gaze, my head shaking in denial. Not a chance. It appears that I should be the one apologizing after all. Maybe I ought to have taken a moment, lingering at the entrance. I let my voice emerge, a tremor of uncertainty enveloping me as I struggled to find the ideal words to convey my thoughts. Quietude. Yet this silence carried a significance all its own. For years we shared the same space, yet our gazes never intertwined with such fervor. The air crackled with an unspoken energy, a palpable tension hovering just out of reach. The call to venture down and summon a meal from the dim corners of the kitchen tugged at me, my voice escaping as I turned briskly toward the staircase. My voice quivered, a fragile attempt to maintain my guise. Liam remained silent, his gaze locked onto me, as if he were unraveling a complex puzzle hidden in the distance between us. As Liam and I approached that pivotal moment, remember to hit that subscribe button for my channel. Activate notifications and immerse yourself in this tale until the final echo disappears. I assure you, the excitement is about to reach an exhilarating peak. Until that evening, a hush wrapped around us. Silence enveloped the space, devoid of exchanged words, untexted thoughts, absent fleeting glances, and a complete lack of even the most casual attempts at conversation. Yet within that stifling silence, an unspoken truth lingered in the atmosphere. Everything teetered on the edge of a profound change. At dinner, we occupied the same table, yet our eyes flitted away from each other like hesitant characters in a story waiting to unfold. The sole noise that pierced the air was the sharp clatter of silverware meeting our plates, echoing in the heavy tension that enveloped us. We discovered ourselves caught in a silence that craved freedom, each of us deeply aware of the unspoken feelings that hung in the atmosphere surrounding us. Days slipped by, each cloaked in a false tranquility, as chaos quietly unraveled beneath the surface. The quiet stretched between us, intensifying the hidden chasm, poised to break at any moment. On that pivotal afternoon, Liam took a seat beside me. I could feel the uncertainty flickering in his eyes, but the urgent desire to mend the broken fragments was unmistakable. Sophia, reflecting on the other day, I am overwhelmed by a profound sense of shame. My apologies, I never intended for things to come apart in this manner. I must protect what we've created. I can't let this break it apart. He pleaded, his voice trembling with a mix of anxiety and genuine emotion. I inhaled deeply, the weight of the moment wrapping around me. In the midst of turmoil and unpredictability, a compelling desire to soothe him enveloped me. I concealed my genuine emotions behind a grin, my shoulders lifting just a bit as I communicated. Oh, Liam, trust me. I've encountered my fair share of cringeworthy experiences throughout the years. Then I shared a few of those moments, each one heavy with the weight of unexpressed longings. His smile wavered, a brief flicker of uncertainty passing over his face, as he surrendered to the weight of his shame slowly fading. Yet the electric tension lingered in the air. In that moment, it felt like the weight of life had momentarily eased from our bond. Yet deep down, an unsettling truth lingered, whispering that nothing had truly transformed. Even in the midst of glimmers of hope that sought to break through, this conversation shattered the fragile barriers that once defined our connection, leaving a palpable tension hanging in the air. The ambience crackled, balancing precariously on the brink of a thrilling disarray. Liam released a soft, uncertain chuckle, his eyes drifting down to the table, seeking refuge from the weight of the moment. "It seems we've finally found our common ground," he murmured, as a heavy silence wrapped around us. I furrowed my brow and directed my gaze toward him, a storm of emotions churning within me. "What are you suggesting?" A tremor of uncertainty wove its way into my expression. In an instant, his attitude transformed as if an unforeseen reality had cut through the facade of deception. He had uttered a truth that hung in the air, elusive and impossible to retract. He gently brushed his fingers along the nape of his neck, a heavy tension hanging in the air. Yet he had already embarked on this perilous journey, destined to carry the weight of his decision, pressing upon him like a secret too alluring to disclose. He inhaled deeply, his gaze drifting as he softly spoke. "I've seen you, yet you appeared unaware of everything around you." It was as if an exhilarating force coursed through me, awakening every part of my essence. I found myself frozen, caught in the weight of the moment. "What is this?" I inhaled deeply, the weight of his words enveloping me like a shroud. Liam's face lit up with passion, yet he pressed on, resolute. "I hid it from you, shrouded in mystery, but it remained in the corners of my mind, an indelible mark that clung to my very being. In truth, it was a secret I held dear, nestled within a persistent shadow that swirled ceaselessly in my mind." My heart pounded wildly. A strange warmth flowed through me, an eerie sensation that suggested hidden truths waiting in the darkness. Liam's words held a captivating charm, resonating with hidden truths that hung in the atmosphere. They broke down every barrier that kept us apart. I fixed my gaze on him, the air thick with unspoken truths waiting to unfold. His gaze was fixed on mine, an intense tension hanging in the air. In this moment, we both understood that what existed between us was far from an ordinary interaction. The atmosphere in this room grew heavy, saturated with a tension that hung in the silence. Everything had changed completely, becoming unrecognizable. From that pivotal moment onward, the world transformed into a realm of whispers and hidden truths. The distance that once defined our relationship had always felt like an insurmountable barrier. Yet now it appeared that barrier had dissolved into mere memory. Little did I know, I was swept away in a mesmerizing storm of experiences with Liam, each one more enchanting than the one before. Seemingly trivial exchanges, small moments that felt inconsequential, yet each one ignited the smoldering intensity that lingered in the air between us. Now we found ourselves sitting side by side, wrapped in the flickering glow of the screen, sharing moments that felt both intimate and charged with unspoken longings. Once we maintained our distance, but now an undeniable connection wrapped around us, a silent understanding that lingered in the air, something we both sensed yet never dared to face. Understood. In those ephemeral moments, when Liam's arm lay casually on the couch, when my hand accidentally grazed his leg, or when our laughter mingled in the air, an unsettling sensation started to stir within me. Still, I found it hard to pull away from the allure of dwelling on it. On a restless night, the dance of slumber eluded my grasp. I lay back in the sheets, caught in a relentless struggle, my thoughts swirling chaotically, while my body twisted in a constant state of unease. Perhaps there was only a single longing that consumed my every moment of consciousness. "Liam, this performance must reach its conclusion." I found myself at a crucial juncture, compelled to etch a line upon the ground. Should there be any concealed feelings lurking just out of sight, I recognized the necessity to confront them head-on, to resolve the ambiguity in that brief moment.